Okay, it says connected to cloud server.
I mean, if not, we'll just all explode or something will happen.
Okay. All right.
For
So
the
now
best.
it says it's recording, and let's just hope that it is.
So apparently in the Zoom meeting like settings in the manage participants, that's where you select who can record and who can't.
Yeah, but I think
okay.
Maybe do you think two can record? Maybe.
It should be able to.
But it's going to record the same thing.
Or allowed to record. Okay.
Yeah.
Davo, you want to give it a try now?
Yeah. So I will do that. Okay. Well, it's recording now, I guess.
All right.
So I have it in gallery view.
That's in the top left. I see the button, the recording button is going, so it's working. And I'm happy to record sometime too if you need it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So like at some point, I will. Oh, I see a bunch of other people in the waiting room here. And since it's in speaker view now, I definitely will need anybody who is going to be sharing to put yourselves in the chat, because I can't see everyone in the grid anymore. Like it's only showing 5 people up top or 4 or 5 people up top at a time.
Oh wow, we have 23 participants now.
I guess I could switch between the gallery and speaker view. I don't know if it's going to do that in the recording though.
It will. You're right. It'll only show your view, so.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. But it'll switch in the recording from gallery to speaker?
It's gonna record whatever is going on the screen. You can be kind of casual about it.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So so it's a little after 2, and I guess the way that we'll run it is as we have in the past. Anybody who would like to share your work, and that also includes sharing your screen, put your name into the chat window, and then we'll just go in the order of people in the chat window. And then once all the artists that haven't yet presented their work to the group have shared, we'll open it up, and any previous attendees can share their work, or we can have sort of an open discussion. So chat is open. Any victims want to step up to the plate?
Victims.
You're looking for new people, right? New people.
Yeah, new people to start out with. Frederic, you wanna go?
Yes. Okay. Can you hear me clearly?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Are we still keeping this at 3 minutes or no?
Yeah, I guess. What do you guys think that's enough time, or should we extend it to 4?
Yeah, I think
you should make it longer. Oh, sorry, that's my dog.
Okay, it's like for me, I'm seeing like the gallery, since it's speaker view, whoever is saying anything is popping up, but I guess that's okay. But could everyone other than Frederic mute yourselves for the time being? And I guess we'll go with 4 minutes. So yeah.
Okay, so I can share my screen, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, but I have to navigate between different windows. So I will start by speaking a little bit. So I've been actively working on art things, I would say, for like a year and a half. But since I'm a motion designer as a profession, I always practiced art, but it was mostly for clients or my bosses. I wanted to start by making video, and that's what I did. So my intention was to create a YouTube channel, but sorry, I'm a bit stressed out. So I will start by sharing an example of a video I made that I like. Sorry.
I just pasted Frederic's Instagram into the chat window. If any of you guys want, you can click that link too to get a quick look at his work.
Okay. Okay, so I have my quick time window. Okay, I can share it now. Okay, so that's a video I made. Okay, so I downloaded it from YouTube, so the quality is not very good, but there's it demands. I'm sorry, but visually, I was on something quite radical, I would say. As a choice, it's only green and blue, and took me quite. And it's made also with fragments of movies that I downloaded and mashed up all together to make a video to illustrate a kind of text I wrote but it's in French, so I'm not sure that it will be very easy for you to understand. So that was a lot of fun to do, but also a lot of work. I think I worked for at least 2 months on the video, but I'm not working full time because I have my job, and so YouTube was too time consuming for what I wanted to do, because if you want to grow an audience on YouTube, from what I understand, you have to have a precise brand and to post content regularly, which wasn't my case because I work so much on the video. So so I don't know. I was like I still love making videos, but I'm not so much on the YouTube part for now. And in the meantime, I wanted to also to promote those videos on YouTube. So on Instagram, that's how I discovered Instagram, which I absolutely didn't know before last year. And it was really a discovery, because I had no idea that Instagram was so packed with talent. It was really I discovered a lot of really amazing artists in Instagram. So it made me reconsider what I wanted to do, because I also realized that even if I thought that my graphic abilities and such were good in Instagram, I realized that I had much to learn, because I saw things that I never knew that people could do, and I was really eager to learn a lot, because yeah, I honestly discovered some types of images in Instagram that I never saw anywhere else before. So that was very exciting. And I wandered on the glitch part of Instagram, and I discovered this software, this Android software that I think a lot of Techspressionist member use, which is Glitch Lab. That's how I met the Techspressionist community. And so that's, I started to produce content only for Instagram, and I dropped the YouTube side of things to focus exclusively on Instagram. And so I make still images, but also videos. Currently, I have 3 series.
Hey, Frederic.
Yeah.
I don't mean to cut you off, but we're a bit over the 4-minute mark. Sorry.
Sorry, what?
We're a bit over the 4-minute mark.
Oh, okay. Really?
Yeah. It can go fast. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
But thanks for sharing.
So hesitant to. So, well, you can take a look at on my Instagram and you'll see it.
For sure.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much. And yeah, moving forward, if whoever is sharing, please paste in any links to your Instagram or any websites, that you want into the chat, and that way, the other members in the meeting can check out your work. I saw a couple other people joined in. So Jonesy, you want to take it away? You might need to unmute yourself. Or do you want to share? I see you're in the meeting, Jonesy. Or we could skip until the next one. Let's see, who's in the chat? Giovanna, do you want to jump in? I don't know if Jonesy might have stepped away from her computer. You just need to unmute yourself.
Okay, let me find my Instagram account.
And
okay.
just let the other members know like where you're calling in from and stuff.
Yeah, sure. I'm from New York. I'm an artist curator. Also, I found Artpod. Artpod is a mobile app you can download to showcase your art. We produce an AR and VR gallery. I also like to let all of you know that our office, we can actually do the physical art shows. As a member of a Techspressionism, that you're all welcome to join. That we have a lot of art fair this year. I'm going to send my contact to the chat.
Great.
And I'm really glad that thank you so much to Davonte. You know, I'm sorry because I have a problem to pronounce Davonte.
You can just call me Davo. That's fine.
Davo. Yeah, in the calling, I'm thrilled to be part of the movement. I'm very excited.
Glad to have you. All right. Did you have any more that you wanted to add, or?
Yeah, I wish I can. Well, if I can share my screen little, but I have to find my video. Okay. Let me find my video first. So what is it? What is you guys doing right now during the pandemic? Anybody want to say anything? Do you have a YouTube channel or anything like to talk about it?
Well,
Well,
we're
I
going
can
to
talk
start a
about it.
YouTube channel,
Yeah.
and kind of like the way that the meeting is sort of structured is initially the artists who haven't presented their work to the group before will each get like a certain amount of time to show their work and share their screen, and then we'll kind of open it up to general discussion afterwards.
Oh, okay.
But we do have a couple different social media channels on the Techspressionism.com site footer. Probably the Discord server that Davonte set up is the most active at this point.
Okay. So am I able to share my screen right now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So I actually I made this video and also with my original painting and also the music as well. I'm a songwriter and the DJ. When I was in Taiwan, I started my art career about 10 years ago. I'm really fascinated about trance music and tech house. So I just combine these together. I also have my IG. That's actually my IG is Instagram is very easy to find. You can just find my name, Giovanna Sun, and no space. So my artwork is a kind of my artwork is actually really changed a lot because the one I show to you, this is really not my style. I always change. It's always transforming myself, and I try to be because I'm in the tech industry, live in the technology world. So I feel like every day, even every second, every moment is change. So living the fast-paced world, I try to be always transforming myself into different type of a phone. Okay, I guess that's about my presentation. So I going to put my IG, my Twitter account, and my email in the chat. That I like to coordinate, so think about how can we help each other right now.
Yeah, I would encourage you guys, if you want to download, if you look for ArtPot, ARTPOT, I know it's in the iOS App Store and I believe on Google Play. Is it on Google Play as well?
Yep, it
Yes,
is.
we also have an Android, but Android version we haven't updated for a while due to the budget. But we mostly our iOS app is more we have a lot of upgrade versions.
Gotcha. Cool. All right. So I don't know, Jonesy, did you want to present? I don't think you have before to the group, or have you? I saw you in the chat. If not,
I have a question, Colin.
yeah.
I didn't really understand what you said about ArtPod. I didn't quite understand what it is. Could you explain it?
It is an app that I believe allows artists and galleries to publish their work to other users of the application. I did download it, but I haven't really played too much with it. But probably this group would be a good set of beta testers for it for Giovanna, and also we could probably find a way to sort of mutually work with her startup as a way to get some exposure for member artists and stuff like that. But I would recommend just downloading it and trying it out.
Yeah, you can actually just
yeah.
play around. We try to create an ecosystem for all the artists and art communities. We're also marketplace because I'm curator. So for more than 10 years, we have our inner circles, about 30 art collectors in our circle. Besides selling art, that we also just encourage all the art lovers and all the artists just tried our app. And the good thing about our app is I know as many artists these days, they only can show their art on Instagram, and they not even can have their own website. But our app is free. That if you want to showcase the app, that you can just, if you have a mobile phone, you can just show to the people whenever and wherever. So
like
that's
Saatchi, maybe? Is it like Saatchi or distinguished from that, or is it different?
Yeah, similar like a Saatchi, but we also, the good thing about our app is that we also can showcase the locations of your studio, and also if you have a video, we also can showcase video, and even like a 360 tour. Such art is more simply just a focus like a marketplace to buy sell art. But we are like combined with the AR, VR, and we're already close on function because we were kind of think about too broad, and then we try to just limit some functions and focus on showcase and the virtual gallery things.
Okay, so I'd like to just move on and get through the artists first, and then we can maybe open it up to discussion.
Sure.
Just in the for the sake of time.
Yes.
But I think maybe talking about these different marketplace applications might be a good general topic of discussion once the floor is open. I do see Malavika send me a direct message. I don't know if she posted to the group, but if you want to share, I see you as the next person in my chat. You would just need to unmute yourself and.
Am I audible?
Hi there.
Yeah, hi. Hi, hello everyone. I'm Malavika M Andrew. Is my PPT, you will be giving me the share, right?
You should be able to share your screen just by hitting the share screen button. If you just want to tell the group where you're dialing in from also, that would be great.
Okay, 1 second.
You're coming in from India, right?
Yes. Is it visible?
Yeah, I see your screen.
Great. I have written a lot of matters because I thought if my pronunciation is not very clear, so at least you can read a little bit. So that's the thing I thought of. Sorry.
I just posted your Instagram in the chat also, so the other users can take a look while you're presenting.
I don't know why it's not functioning, because it's not visible. Sorry.
It's okay. If you want to pull up your Instagram maybe and just tell us a little bit more about your images that way, that would be
I
good.
wanted to show some new work also, but okay. I'll just take 2 minutes and then again I'll come back. I'll just share you the. By that time, somebody else can take it.
Sure. Does someone else want to present?
Sorry.
I'm trying to see who in the chat. Lucy, do you wanna present? Or Michael?
Hello.
Hi there.
Can you hear me? You got it? Am I unmuted?
Yep.
Oh, good. All right. Well, I've been working on a series that I've called In Signal Noise, based on the broken signals that arrive on my television screen. And I photograph them. They're wonderfully abstract, but they're also a lot of old black and white sitcoms from the 50s and 60s. And I have, let's see here, I'll share my screen. Okay. So I photograph them with my iPhone because I like the lack of detail. And then I make a digital negative and I print these on at 45 inches by 60 inches, and then I apply acrylic paint. This is F Troop. The Addams Family. Colors of the American flag done in reverse. The Lone Ranger. Father Knows Best. Bewitched. Eventually, this is going to be an exhibit of 15 to 20 pieces. It's the American facade of what the right in our country thinks they're defending. That these images of sitcoms, and those are the halcyon days for the people who are resisting change. And the things that they refer back to and think about are evidenced in the popularity of old sitcoms. And I've just sort of brought them up and worked on them to show them as they were just a facade that were not an accurate depiction of what real life in America was or has been ever. That it's an ideal that has never really existed. So the Techspressionist part of it is, it begins with my iPhone and a digital TV screen, and then I make it larger, combining a contemporary process with an analog component. So I'm literally addressing old ideas of the past with new technology, and that's what I've been doing the most of lately. Roy Rogers and Dale Evans. This is as far as I've gotten so far, but I have plenty more negatives to make, and it's all done on metallic paper, so the images read like like an old television screen. Anyway, that's what I've been doing. Thank you.
That's really beautiful, interesting work, Michael.
Thank you.
Yes, very cool. Very cool.
Nice work.
Yeah, I like it too.
It's really nice.
I hope I can. I'm also going to be the artist in residence in Todi, Italy, in the fall, and I'm going to be teaching 2 classes, and I want to include Techspressionism as part of my curriculum. So if anybody has any presentation ideas or formats that they found conducive in their own teaching, I'd love to know about them.
I think that's really cool. I mean, I would say there's so little actual concrete, material about the ideas behind it at this point that, I would encourage your students to, come up with their own interpretations of how the idea could relate to their work and their ideas in conjunction with technology. There isn't really much to be taught about it other than it's something new to be explored. And I think, like the foundation of it is really how it relates to past ideas of expressionism per se that, are about really sort of an internal emotional experience or some sort of an internal expression versus say rendering or depiction, or in terms of an illustrative approach. I mean, other than that, I think it's something that everyone's going to have their own kind of ideas about.
Sure. Well, it's something that's we've been doing for several years now. We've just never had a way to to say what it was. And now we do, and that's wonderful, because now I can really start exploring this and that. The interesting thing to me is that now when I create a piece, I think in terms of Techspressionism. You know, what am I saying about it, and how important is the tech to what I'm working on currently? And would this be better? I mean, my work always explores the relationship between painting and photography. So one of the questions I always ask myself is would this be more effective as a painting than as a photograph or in an analog form? And I don't have an answer to that yet. I wish I did, but it's an ongoing exploration for me, and I hope to foster some of that while I'm in Italy. I'm going to make a little stop in Barcelona with Anna Ericalde and her husband. Anyway, it's going to be a little tour with a Techspressionist message, and see what we can get out of that.
Very cool. Very cool. I know that there's at least one other artist that's from Barcelona. And, you know, before you go on your trip, you could always look through the artist index on the site and see if there's anybody that you could actually, you know, connect with on your travels. At least it's like a point of commonality, you know, and it's starting to be a pretty nice international group of artists. So I'm just looking through the chat window. I don't know if anyone else wants to hop in, or if Malavika, you want to give it another shot.
I will try one more time to share my screen. If it doesn't happen, I'm sharing the Instagram also. Otherwise, because Instagram is having little haphazard images, so I don't know. That's the reason I wanted. Okay, so I'll try one more time. Thank you. Yeah, it's okay. My name is, as I said, as Malavika. I'm an artist, and my main education is in textile designing. I did my bachelor's and master's degree in textile design from Vishwabharati Shantiniketan at West Bengal, India. It is founded by great poet and writer, artist Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore. I've received Polo Krishna Foundation grant and National Scholarship of Government of India, which has helped me lots in my developing my experimental work, and also digital collage, because digital collage to print is very expensive. So that's how it helped me a lot. I participated in several national and international group art shows. Also, I had 4 solo art shows also in India. Now, during my college time, I didn't learn CAD design because that was not part of our education. Our institute was totally into the traditional technique. Like you can say brush and paint. That's even if I was doing at 1988, the textile designing I finished, but that time also I didn't learn the CAD. So my CAD learning is thanks to my textile industry work and teaching experience, because of which I learned CAD and lots of textile other techniques, which helped me in developing my digital medium and mixed media art. Now I'll start showing my work. Actually, it is the first time showing you some of the few textile based work, so that I can make you understand that from textile how I went to digital. This is basically, if you see, its inspiration is life, nature, and these are tapestries, then prints, leather batik mixing with weaving, normal batik. So I'm mixing all the techniques here also during my starting. This is, I think, 2003 exhibition I had, and which I'm even using in the garment. I mean, so for me, the space is not a very important factor. I'm just experimenting different art on different surface. Now I shifted to slowly digital. Now it happened because of I'm from a very small town. So when I shifted to Mumbai, it's a business hub. So here, because of my learning in textile industries, I will say learning because I was working and learning this CAD, as I said. So I started using the medium as per the requirement. I was not mixing, I mean, like converting after changing the digital effect. I'm not converting. So here my inspirations goes this way, that along with the five elements of our life, the sixth element, that is called technology, got involved, and we, the human being, have unlimited desires. So that's for my identity, how I shifted from a small town to big town. So that identity is like, now I want more, like now how I got connected to you. So it's an unlimited desire. So that's the thing I'm showing in my these digital collage. In this, some of them on the red colors, like these are all digital and these are all mixed medium work. I'm showing because the impact, how it is affecting to me when I'm going to the digital, and how it is changing when I'm working on the mixed medium. Even though I'm using here mixed medium, but the base I created by digital collage. Now, this is 2015. I was, from 2007 till 2015, I was having some personal problems. Plus, there was a time problem. So what I have done, I started doing in a very small notebook. I can say it's an artist book, where each pages were connected to the next one. Like these are actually from the 30 pages, this is some, I think 5-10 pages of that. So each page, when I am doing it, like how our life is connected to the next day, same way these are also connected to the next day, next pages, sorry. And from this, I have picked up like this on the left side, this is one of my page. And then I started again experimenting with that. Now, if I say how it is getting helped, so your technoism, or I say the technique of zooming, then scanning. So I'm getting lot of perforated, lot of uneven textures, grains, which is helping me in developing my next artwork. These are not possible for me to do it without the technical development, I mean the CAD. So I love and enjoy this technique, and this has given me a new direction also. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for presenting.
Very nice.
Very cool.
Beautiful work.
So I'm losing track in the chat of like who is new and who hasn't presented yet, but anybody that wants to, Lucy, would you like to present?
Sure. Hello, everybody. I'm very excited to discover this group, and Colin accepted me into the group this morning, literally an hour before the Zoom call. And this is very cool, very interesting. It's exactly what I need. You know, community.
Let us know where you're calling in from too, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I live in San Diego in California, and I'm an ex-animation and video game programmer, and now I'm creating my own interactive art of different types. I'll share my screen. All right, so fortunately the Zoom controls are hiding my my animation controls. Okay, so this is a piece from a collection that I'm calling Energetic Expressions, and they're each based on a photograph, which I then animate and can make it interactive. So, so this is right now is just randomly surging and changing, and the sort of energy is randomly changing throughout. Making something interactive, it very much depends on the display system, the context, the event. One idea, one way in which I would make it interactive is, as you approach the monitor, it may, surge and fizzles, and if you back off, it sort of becomes stiller. Or if you wave in front of it, maybe it'll energize it more. So that's one collection, one type of work that I do. If there's an extra minute, I can show one other. I use a Unity game engine. So this one. So this is a different kind of experience. Takes a moment to get going. This would become a VR piece. It needs a bit of optimizing first, but this gives the general idea. And again, so what I like to express is all about energy, and in particular, interacting. How do I interact? How do I allow people to interact with my work? To be able to reach out and touch or energize, or to have that sense of responsiveness is really what I find exciting, and what I'm always trying to go for. And the subject matter is always natural processes and flows, and trees and water and fish, and swarming, flocking, growing, seaweed, whatever. That's what I love. So that gives just a little glimpse of two types of things I've been working on most recently.
Lovely work.
Awesome. Very cool.
And thank you, everybody. I'm happy to be here.
Nice. I just got my first headset. I got an Oculus for the holidays, so you said VR, and I got interested immediately. I'd never played with that before, and it seems like a whole new world. So it's exciting.
It is. It's very cool. It's like, you can see something on a screen and you think you know what to expect, but then you see it in a headset, and it really is a different experience.
Yeah, it completely is. It was something that I couldn't appreciate it, in the videos and documentations about the experience until I was actually in it. So that's awesome. Let's see who else is in here. Emily, would you like to present?
Hi, everybody. I'm Emily Bruton-Schilling, and I'm here from New York City, and very excited to be here. I am a loser at sharing my screen, but I did post my Instagram in earlier. I've been working kind of mostly with stitching together expressionistic sort of paintings that I've done with photographs. And I started in on that path with just confronting aging, confronting groups, and isolation during the pandemic. So those are some of the themes I've been playing with. But one of the things, like being very new to this group, like I just stumbled across it maybe a week ago, is how fascinatingly related to the history of art Techspressionism really is. And I'm thinking about things like early prints that were made by feeding sounds into fax machines. Like, this stuff goes back to the 60s and 70s, and it's really, I think, as Lucy said, that it's so exciting to, I think it was Lucy who said that having a name for this helps me to kind of direct my thinking and feel kind of validated that I'm not just messing around on the computer and playing all day. This is actually creating. So I'm very excited to be here and just be learning from all of you. Thank you.
Awesome. Do you want, if you want, paste in, you know, some of your links into the chat, and then people can see what you're working on. And another thing that what you brought up, you know, like I posted something to our Facebook page in our group, and I wanted to put it out there. There's another artist who's part of the group. He hasn't been at the salons yet, but he's someone that I sort of had always looked to as, you know, a pioneer in this area. And his name is Joseph Nekvatal, and he I lived kind of not too far from him in the Lower East Side in New York City, and he introduced me to this idea of social art, which I guess was developed by this artist Joseph Beuys, Beuys, as how, like, you know, social actions, groups, organizations could be a medium in which, you know, multiple participants could create art, essentially. And it really resonated with me. And he brought this up in the context of another group project that we were involved in, you know, and it recently kind of came to me that, like, that's almost the way that I think about this endeavor, more so than any other way, or, you know, in an idealistic sense, it being an art project that's participatory, that's using sort of the social fabric as its medium, versus, you know, trying to be a movement or trying to be a collective or trying to be an organization. I mean, the thing that we do have in common is that we're artists, and the idea of social art, I think, I don't know, it's just something that resonated with me. So I just wanted to put that out there. So yeah, but I also just wanted to make sure that anybody that is in the meeting right now that would like to present, that has yet to present to the group, can do so. So I mean, at this point, I'm kind of losing track. So if you just want to unmute yourself and shout out, you'll pop up. Otherwise, we can open it up. Karen, go ahead.
Let's see if I can do this. Is the sound okay? Because there's music in one of my pieces. Okay. Now I have to go to where? Can you see this?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. It's down here. All right. I thought I had 3 minutes, so I was trying to put my life in 3 minutes. I work in a genre called sudden fiction, which are small micro stories. For me, they run between about 300 words and maybe 1900 words max. My artwork and tech speak to the resiliency of the human heart to survive in the ever-shifting landscapes of life. And I've been doing this for a number of years. I started with computers, as I said in one meeting, in '81, and I kind of grew up with them. These were done in the mid-90s. They're different voices of different characters with their stories embedded. And somebody was talking about bringing mixed media in and things. This is paintings projected on the walls, brought back in, digitized. It's a mixed bag of everything. So I did this for years in my gallery, and I sold them, and I'm still selling them. Then I started to take the text and embed it inside the characters themselves. And then I started to play around in different genres. I've been doing a children's literature conference every other year, and I do their opening animation to start the conference. So I have to go with their themes. This one here was their Impossible Dream one, obviously graphic novel influenced. And then I realized I had the layers, I had the stories, let's make the move. So I came to the animation actually through this journey. Then I started to experiment with stories in abstract form. This was actually an exhibit I did for a bunch of lit majors. And I told them, go ahead in and read the stories. And they were just, they were kind of stunned, but they had a blast once they figured it out. This is Rapunzel. You can actually read it from the upper left serpentine curve down through the whole thing and ends in the lower left, living happily ever after. From there, I started to take those digital paintings and started to put them into storyboard form. So this will eventually be a full animation. Then I started to work with experimenting, just getting vocabulary in abstract forms, getting away from the realistic forms because, well, basically I'm losing my hands to an autoimmune condition. So it's hard for me to draw. So what I do is I do these paintings and then I have control of every element in these paintings so that they can be used in other areas, even if it's a tiny dot. And that's how these end up getting created. Then I started to take the abstractions and make them move. A bunch of these are posted on my Instagram account. They're just little 5-second experiments in learning the language of moving abstraction. Then I started to work with the Hammond Museum, and once a month I'm posting about 1 to 1.5 minute animations with them, and that was a 5-second clip from one of those animations. And then hopefully this works for you. This is September's. This is the full minute, and I work with Nancy Tucker, the musician, on this. She does all her original performances and compositions. And that's what I do. I'm doing more and more of these. They're getting longer. They'll end up coming back, circling into my stories. And eventually my sudden fictions will be animated like this. So that's what I do.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Really wonderful.
Thank you.
Gorgeous.
I really identified with a lot of your different work for different reasons, you know, introducing painting and mixed media, the fabric from Malavika. When I travel and I have no travel photos. I just have photos of colors and cracks and dots and, and they're my palette where then I take and I create onto the computer. I don't use any paint programs or anything. It's all done with a mouse and clicked around everything. So that's what I do.
Nice. Anybody else? Would anyone else that has yet to present their work to the group like to? If you want to, you could just unmute yourself and shout it out. Otherwise, I guess we can open it up to anybody that's, in the meeting if you're working on anything new or anyone has any sort of specific topics of conversation they want to bring up. One other thing, other than, I think I might have said social art, but it was really social sculpture that Boys was talking about. And there's another thing that I just wanted to share with you guys in the chat, which is there's a group in New York City called The Thing. And I remember back when the web was just getting started, there weren't really that many internet service providers, and The Thing was one of them that was started by an artist named Wolfgang Stahler. I think that's how you pronounce it. But I see them as sort of like a predecessor to what we're doing in a way, and it's an interesting model. Like I pasted the link into the Wikipedia link into the chat, and they kind of formulated their own like geographic, almost like chapters, And I was thinking that might be something down the road if people like, say, a group of Techspressionist artists based in Canada wanted to come together and pull together a show of Canadian Techspressionism, that might be a way of people geographically kind of like formulating mini communities also, or a way of the, what we're doing sort of growing in a way that would be allow for local in-person community building as well. I don't know if that has any validity or not, but some more food for thought. But yeah, anyone that wants to jump in and show your new stuff or anything else. I'm not sure if you guys think we should continue recording past the presentation period or not. Anyone have any opinion on that?
Why not? I mean, well, I find out if you stop recording, then something brilliant comes up that you didn't record, or sometimes the way that you're talking, the thing you said about this thing being a social sculpture and mentioning Joseph Beuys, that's really interesting. That coming from you, Colin, because it kind of gives a philosophy to what we're doing here, And you sort of was one of the main. Well, you're the main person who I see as the progenitor of this, and again, it gives it a lot of openness, which is good. It's great.
I mean, like I was sharing with Davonte and a couple of the other artists before we started recording, I've definitely struggled with like what to call this endeavor, or how to describe it, and then I sort of like remembered the conversation with Joseph about this idea, and it really sort of made sense to me that like I'd like it to be what people make of it versus having people try to conform to some definition. I mean, I think sort of the core definition really would be the definition on the homepage, which is the thing that historically links it to expressionism. I think that's what makes it something more than like I saw another artist when they were talking about it, I think it was in an Instagram chat, said it was an interesting portmanteau. And I thought, well, that's an interesting way to describe it. It is the combination of two words in that way, but I think it's also it can't just be arbitrary. It does actually have to stay true to what expressionism was all about, where it wasn't necessarily a depiction. And I feel like even media like photography can be used in a very expressionistic way, and doesn't necessarily need to be like illustrative or completely figurative, and in terms of putting the show together, the first sort of main group show, which will most likely be preceded by this really cool collaborative project that Davonte has come up with. I was thinking that like an initial way of organizing the work could be like abstract expressionism and figurative expressionism, in the way that Der Blaureiter and De Brucke and all of those sort of groups preceded the Abex painters, but it's all sort of the same tradition of expressionism. So, I kind of wanted to put that out there and see what you guys thought too.
I think it's interesting. I mean, I have to say my own work has always usually has some kind of figurative thing in it. but I'm not like drawing a toy pussycat with digital. You know, I'm not depicting a picture. Expressionism, when you look into the abstract marks of even a piece that's about a figure, or, you know, the piece, I think it was Michael Pointer's, Roy Rogers, and, you know, there are things in there that have imagery you can see, but there's an abstraction to it that makes it interesting. And also, personally, I think when I look at digital, there's kind of a close edge between decorative expressionism, where it's a bunch of paint flying around. This is just me, you know, and something that has a deeper something going on with it that has to be done, that can't be done in other media. You know, you can't just take a painting and then go. That's something that I think that really needs, that people out there don't understand educationally about digital, is that we're not taking paintings and then making a digital giclée print of them, which is where sort of that gets a bad rap, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. But we're working with the medium itself. I mean, with the edge, the tool, even, I mean, some of the work I do is even with a pencil lately, and having worked in digital for 25 years, I pick up a pencil now and I'm definitely drawing differently than I used to. So it's nice to connect the larger lexicon of art history, you know, to this, which is several people have brought up today, with connecting old with new. I think that makes it very exciting and broader. And that we critique each other. I mean, that we talk to each other about our work. I think it's exciting. I was in a group called Picture Element in the 90s. And it was one of the earliest groups in New York City that did this. There were 8 of us. And Picture Element was a word we really thought about very much too, that the digital had to be a part. There's nothing online about it. I'm there if you're looking for it. There's a site, but it isn't completed. But it was pretty serious. It was serious painters working with digital and having it as part of their work.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that, you know, it's the discourse that makes it interesting, you know, for me anyway. And it's like, you know, is the medium the message? You know, I mean, the medium is what sort of is a unifying force, or, you know, that's the thing that we all have in common, is we all are, you know, our work is all touched by technology in some way. It's not necessarily about technology, you know, and I think the diversity is what makes it interesting, you know, in that, you know, when Helen first got involved, one point that she made was the definition originally was included the word style, you know, a style, which, let's see, what did it used to be? It was an artistic style in which technology is utilized as a means to express emotional experience rather than the external world. And Helen suggested changing that word style to approach. And, you know, initially I didn't see how important that was, but it really is important, because otherwise all of the work would end up being curated to look the same, to have the same aesthetic and the same, you know, feel to it. And I think that's very limiting, and that really locks in your 15 minutes, you know, of notoriety as, you know, a movement or a group or an endeavor, because it just, you know, moves on to the next thing. So
yeah, I'm a lot more interested in my final piece not looking like a painting. You know, the pieces that I showed today are a transmutation of both, but most of my work is obviously digital and should never be inferred as a painting. And I think that's part of what beginning this conversation allows me to do, is to place my digital art on a level playing ground with other art forms.
And it also speaks to the sped up time we're in. I mean, you know, it's fine if you do draw dots all your life, but Gerard Richter, who's one of the more interesting artists in the last, you know, contemporary scene in the last 100 years to me, and you go to see his shows at the Whitney and whatever, and he has all these different periods, and they're interesting. And, you know, you change in your life, and in digital, we're changing every, you know, Warhol said, fame, you get 15 minutes. Well, now you get 5 seconds. I mean, fame, it doesn't even really mean the same thing. Digital's changing everything. This is the movement. I mean, I've thought so forever, but I've been out here blabbing about this for a long time. But it really is. And it's the art is speaking to it, and the art is being made in this little place that we're all speaking to each other. So, yeah, I'm glad to be here too.
I agree, Roz. Yeah, very much so.
I mean, I don't know, Davo, how this thing is going that you started, where we're doing work with other people. Colin, I don't know if you want to talk about this during this meeting, but I know that I've been working with a woman in Iran. I mean, here I read the New York Times every day, and it's we just put sanctions on Iran, and Iran just has warships, and we just move the ships away from Iran, and I'm having this wonderful, incredible experience with this Iranian artist. She's a book illustrator, and I don't see illustrator as a bad word. I mean, actually, I find the skill of drawing something incredible that if you can expand upon is even better, going beyond illustration. So I know what you're saying there, but she's so talented, and beyond her illustration, she does these incredible, interesting digital patterns with her work. And we've been having a great thing together, and I feel like we're busting through all that crap, that not that it's all crap, but it's a new kind of universe and a way to communicate beyond the gallery. It's a whole new kind of gallery or art world even.
I agree. Davo, do you want to speak to sort of where we're at in the collab? I saw Emily asked if it could be expanded. I mean, I'm kind of going to let you take the lead. I don't know if you want to have like one chapter be complete and us go through one iteration before we do like 2.0 or whatever. I know Patrick and I have been going back and forth, and we have a bunch of work. He's in the midst of a move right now from the UAE to the US. So, and I actually asked him if he'd be interested in co-curating the show with me. So the group exhibition, because we had over 1,200 pieces submitted. And I'm just a bit overwhelmed and shocked with that. And he's got a lot more curatorial experience than I do. So he agreed to that. So, at some point, once he lands on stateside, we're going to start sifting through. But, and also, we still have to do the interview, the co-interview. But are any pairings like, have any pairings completed their homework by the deadline yet, or
just one pairing so far? I'm actually guilty of not finishing up my end of the deal too, so there's that.
I don't feel so bad
then. Goodness, had mucus come up sitting there. Yeah, so as far as the current collab goes, I originally envisioned it taking about a month. It's looking like it's taking a little bit longer than a month to completely flesh out for everyone, which is fine. This has been a learning experience for everybody, which is what I wanted to be anyway. We have 10 participants in this first little run through. For the next one, I'm not sure how many people would be particularly interested in doing it again. But the more the merrier. The more conversations that we have between artists, the better. And that's what the initial vision was for that collab. Artists having conversations with each other, their art responding to or speaking to the other artist's art, and back and forth. And then you have this beautiful mess of stuff.
Devo, do you plan on, it'd be nice, I think, to share at least some of the experience, with when it's together, or maybe,
I plan on doing like an actual virtual exhibition, probably using Kunstmatrix once everything is done. So
yeah, or even here in the chat. I mean,
or that both.
Yeah, I think definitely. I mean, we're going to have a Kunstmatrix account set up that I'll definitely give you, credentials for, because we might as well use the account and have shows sort of that run, like if we can always have a show up, that would be pretty killer. Like, this could be the first one because it's semi-organized to the point that at least the pairings are all aware of, like, the grouping and whatever else, and maybe the deadline needs to be extended a bit. But I think it might make sense to just try to get that set up as a show, like a mini, sort of exhibition. I mean, it'll be a fairly extensive show, really, if it's 4 works per grouping.
Yeah,
That's
at
40
the
pieces.
minimum. At the
You know,
minimum.
so
Yeah.
and there were a few back and forth with Patrick and I, where like I gave my response to his, and then he sent me another response back, and I was like, I wasn't expecting it. I thought we were just going to do one back and forth. So but that opened up the my thinking a little bit as far as like how it could be expanded upon. But I think if we sort of limit like the segments to things that are reasonable, then at least we can get something up and have it be a learning experience for the next one, which might be, maybe the next one is just a completely new set of artists that haven't, that way it sort of gives everyone the opportunity to participate and show. And then, because I'm not really sure when the actual Techspressionism 2021 show will be ready to launch,
Right.
but I'm anticipating probably at the earliest, late spring, early summer, and a lot of that will be due to based on Patrick's availability. I know he's starting up a new teaching position and stuff when he gets back to the U.S. as well. And I did actually hear from the Southampton Arts Center. So the director that I've been working with is actually changing position. She's moving to a museum called Guildhall, where she's going to be the chief creative officer, and there's a new person that's going to be, or he's already the director of that place, Southampton Arts Center, who will be my point of contact there for the proposal of a physical exhibition. But she did indicate, that it has been received positively by their board, so we're just sort of waiting to hear back and see if we can solidify something. I'd like to sort of see if we can lock in a physical exhibition either there or at another venue prior to putting out a press release about the timing of the virtual show, just so that we're able to leverage,
That'd be
like
great.
put out one notice and say, hey, there's this virtual exhibition coming up and there's going to be a physical show a year out. I think that'll be a much stronger, because very few, media outlets are going to want to run a similar story twice. Like, you get sort of one shot to make a splash. So if we can gang up, I think the virtual show with an upcoming physical exhibition, that'll really make it into something more newsworthy. If you guys, agree to that sort of approach.
Definitely. And Colin, but meanwhile, the Kunstmatrix idea of doing some of the smaller or the shows like that were, the experimental things we're doing. I don't know, you talked about the cost of it, and if we don't have to talk about that today, but I'd certainly, if we could take over I can't even say it. Kunstmatrix situation more as a group where we're more aware of it. Of course, you have a beautiful show up there. I think it's still up. Is it still up?
Yeah, it's on my site. I set up a virtual viewing room as a, sort of a learning experience. I can paste it in the chat.
I'd be happy. There's a cost to that. I don't know, as a group at a point, if you're really serious about art, I mean, I'd be happy to, if it's something where we have to, isn't there a cost to having that? I mean,
yeah, there is, but at this point, the call for entry is actually, basically paid for itself and then left some reserve over. So, so that it generated some money from the submissions, some of which was used for the actual setup for the call for entry, which is around 400. And then there were a couple email blasts that went out to basically their entire list of everyone digital in the world, which was like 9,000 people, a couple times. And then also I put it out there on the Art Deadlines list and the New York Foundation for the Arts site, both of which were, paid placements. But even after all of that, there's still some reserve. So that can definitely cover Kunstmatrix. And, most likely there should be some to, for promotional costs for promotion of the show once there's something finalized for the dates. I think definitely there should be a formal press release put out through PR Web or a similar outfit like that. And, this is sort of my day job to some degree. So, I think part of it is just kind of getting the details. But I mean, but I appreciate that, and I think that at this point, there is no formal business enterprise really associated with it. And I kind of honestly prefer it to not be
Yeah,
that
exactly.
ever. You know, I think that's when, you know, things can go awry, and people have asked me like, oh, like, have you trademarked it?
Oh,
Is
yeah.
there a logo? And it's like no and no, you know. I like, you know, my feeling is that having worked in branding for a very long time, my goal is for this to be antithetical to everything that has to do with branding, and much more, you know, based in ideology. You know, maybe that's kind of a you know, a naive way to look at it. I'm not really sure, but
Time will
you
tell.
know, yeah, you know, and
I actually like that you only charge $10 on that entry. You know, I even put up a little flag when I saw that. Didn't, but and some serious artists out there working in digital, compadres of mine, don't enter anything that has any kind of entry fee. You know, or they're very careful about it. And I'm sort of the same, but I thought the $10 actually was you know, you have to support what you're doing somehow. And I thought it was reasonable. It's not like you're asking 50. There's some things out there on Cafe that, you know, they ask for $50 for the artist. I just, come on.
yeah, I mean, that was actually a suggestion, that call for entries. I originally, you know, when I contacted them, was planning on making it a free call, and they said, you know, you're going to get flooded with a lot of irrelevant work if you make it a free call. So you should put at least a minimal fee up there to, you know, filter it out to some degree. And I thought that made sense. So, you know, I think it worked out well. And, you know, like, sort of down the road, I thought, well, I'll put this coupon code together for anyone in the index, you know. And I also wanted to mention that having taken a cursory look at the entries, the majority of the entries are from English-speaking countries, which is not surprising since the call for entry is in English. So people who are not primarily English speakers might not even end up being on the websites where the call is presented. Like, the bulk are US, UK, Canada. That being said, you know, I personally would advocate that this show include the artists in the index in a much broader sense, not, you know, to be more inclusive of artists that maybe are in the index that didn't necessarily apply for the call, but that might just be because they're not English speaking artists and they didn't see the call, you know, or you know, like, the sort of the feeling I have, and let me know what you guys think, is that this be as broad of a geographic cross section as possible. You know, I mean, to me, that is what's going to be the strongest presentation. You know, I think there definitely needs to be a level of quality in the work and a level of seriousness for the artists, you know, that are going to
Colin,
be in the show. But yeah.
Colin, well, relating to your sense of this being sort of an organic endeavor here, I mean, I think honestly, over time, I think there are going to be chapters, if you, and maybe not even to that level of sense of organization, but, you know, artists in France who are technology based may decide to do their own thing, still connected through, you know, what's happening on the website and Instagram and whatever. But I mean, you were talking about regional sorts of things, and I think that's the strength of this becoming more of an organic type of organization. It's like a tree, you know, it's like the central trunk, and then things happen on their own. And I really like that, because I think if you try to make it too top-down heavy, we've all seen the history of those kinds of efforts. They tend to collapse under their own weight after time, because you get the, you know, the high priest saying this has to be this way, and, you know, to be part of this, you have to meet this, you know, certain criteria. And if you take a look, especially today, I've been really impressed by the variety of the artists here. I love Michael's work, what Lucy was showing, and others. It's very inspirational And being here in Phoenix, I feel like I've had to look towards the coasts to get folks that are more on the cutting edge, that are looking at the technology not as an end of itself, but as a medium to explore their artistry. And so for me, I'm just really grateful. And so my plug is, if you're not on the Discord server yet, get on there so we can stay in contact with each other during the 2 weeks between the Salon calls. Because Davonte's done a great job in setting it up for us all.
I tried.
I agree too. It's a language, and a language is morphic. A language grows. It brings things in from other languages, and to try to corral it into something, it is not going to help it expand and grow. I think the best thing we can do as artists is not only talk about it amongst ourselves, which is a wonderful support system, believe me, but to talk to people that we know in key positions to get the word out there. I do know some people in some pretty good art schools who are like the presidents of, etc., and former directors of museums who are of a art history background. And then if you know anybody, even if they're retired or whatever, let them know what's going on, because I think that's going to build a strong foundation to the people that we need to start using the word. So, let it be organic.
Yes.
Well, oh, go ahead, Nora.
Oh, no, Nora, did you want to share? I know, I don't think you've shared your work with the group yet.
I haven't. I think I will the next time. I had one of those nights that I worked until like 6 in the morning on experiencing the law of diminishing returns. So I don't know if anyone else has overworked their pieces to that point. But anyway, I wanted to ask more about logistics and mechanics of things that like, for instance, the collaborative project and the Kunstmaster
Matrix.
Kunstmatrix site. It appeared that with the collaborative guidelines that people were passing back a still image back and forth. My work is temporal, so I'm working in video. I make generative. I program generative graphics that perform in video and in real time, and so I was wondering how that would work for someone who works in motion graphics exclusively. I don't make really, I mean, I put up a still, say on Instagram maybe, from the video, but it's not work that's meant to be consumed as a still. And so I would have that question for also like the Kunstmatrix site, gallery site, like whether there is accommodation for moving video imagery. I guess I'd have that same question for, let's see, is she still here? Yes, Giovanna as well for her site. I saw that, so Colin, you know that like I wound up submitting work for the call that just closed. I wound up submitting it to you because the site didn't really have any kind of capability for me to upload video, and even my video stills are so much bigger than what that upload would permit. So, and that's not the first time I've experienced that for like trying to get my work displayed in online galleries. A lot of it is geared towards still imagery and not moving imagery. So I can compress a 4 gigabyte file down with like 265 with a codec that repackages it nicely, but at certain point, like I can never make like less than a 25 megabyte file of anything that I do. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that is the question. What formats and what is going to be the logistical accommodation for people who make generative video?
Well, I know that Kunstmatrix, I believe, they have a 5 megabyte file size limit. And initially the show was only going to be still because I wasn't even sure if video could be placed within the VR environment. I learned after the
It's
call
actually,
was,
yes, I can answer you because we just finished one, our new VR in November last year. My video was in one of the screen in the virtual 3D rendering gallery. But the thing is, there's a very limited that the way we're doing it is we use the simplest way, like because I have a YouTube channel. So it was an upload to YouTube and we copy the code and paste into the 3D render space. So that's how we figure out. But of course, there are many more advanced technology or more deep tech can do that. But of course, that'll be more expensive for the budget to custom out the code.
right. So, I mean, within Kunstmatrix, which is the platform that we're going to be using for the group show, there are certain technical limitations that still are going to remain to be seen as far as just testing goes. And I mean, from what one of the artists told me who has some experience specifically with Kunstmatrix, is their recommendation, that is the platform's recommendation, is that exhibitions are limited to 3 videos throughout the exhibition. So part of it is going to be really beta testing and trying to see, like how far down video can get, like if submissions can be compressed down below a 5 megabyte limit. That might just be a recommendation based on the idea of limited bandwidth. So I know that there are also other options, like there's options within Kunstmatrix where you can have multiple rooms that are linked together. So depending on how the platform functions, they might preload all the content as you enter a new room. So that might change the landscape of what is possible. And a couple months down the road, the platform itself might have evolved to the point that it's a non-issue. Again, like I have yet to do enough testing to really speak to it completely, accurately, as far as like people have asked me, well, does Kunstmatrix accept placement of looping videos? I don't actually know the answer to that, but certainly I would encourage anyone that is interested to sign up for Kunstmatrix. I know they have a free account option where I think you can use it as a personal space to play around with, and then you can always upgrade to a pay account, which is relatively affordable, I think. I mean, I signed up for a separate paid account for my own space that I used for my my online viewing room, that I pasted in the chat up there. I think that it was maybe $15 a month or something like that. But you can sign up for a free Kunstmatrix account to do some experimentation, and that certainly would be welcome if anybody does work specifically with video content. And I know that other group members have told me about the placement of 3D objects as well, which is something interesting, and I think down the road probably there will be future shows that would be based specifically on time-based work or centered around particular media,
I wrote to Kunstmatrix about this. I'm primarily video, and that down the road is the key phrase. It seems like a great program, and I think they're probably just not there yet with the video. They kind of told me they were, but it wasn't really true. I mean, you could put up very, very short duration videos, and that's a genre. There are some people that work in very short, and hopefully with loop, and that could be interesting. But at this point, I don't think it's really it's ready for prime time, their video capability. in 6 months or a year, this stuff moves fast. So, and there's also other ways to show video too. So,
Yep.
Yeah, I don't personally work in like Blender, but if there's anyone that does, I know that you can just make your own uh your own gallery space within that, and that's something
Good.
that it would be cool to collaborate on because I'm keen to actually learn Blender next so I can work with some 3D modeling. I don't know if Lucy, that's in your wheelhouse, but since you work in Unity. But anyway, that's just a thought, like collaboratively, that if there's a space that, you know, if an alternate space other than Kunstmatrix for all of the folks here that work in video and looping video, which I would fall under that category, like maybe we can create our own
Yeah,
room or
yeah, I think that's a great idea, and I would encourage artists who work in time-based media to sort of start hooking up with each other and trying to, come up with a plan to maybe curate a show based around that, using a platform that will work properly for the medium, because I think there's I would be very hesitant to say to artists, hey, you need to compress your work down to the point that, it's not acceptable
doesn't.
to you. You know
Yeah,
what
it
I mean?
doesn't.
Like
It doesn't work.
that shouldn't happen.
no.
So I would say, minimally the work would have to be presented either in a flat way that is, embedded on a page that would be linked to from the virtual gallery. So at least it could be seen in a way that, is presentable, that's acceptable to the artist. That's the most important thing. The fact that it's in a virtual room to me is somewhat secondary. It's
Absolutely.
interesting and it's kind of cool, but that's not what the art is about. So that's just my personal take on it, and I'm happy to to hear input from you guys like Clive, people who work primarily in video, as to how video submissions could be presented for this show in a way that makes sense and that would be in the best, would present the artist's work in the best light, in the best way, perhaps in the context of it could. Now, I know that, like, for instance, like an object in a Kunstmatrix space has an information panel that you can click, and there can be a link embedded there. So maybe there's like a portal to entry where it lets you say, okay, now to view video submissions, and maybe it's a wall, like a piece of wall text, right, about video submissions. You click the information panel, takes you to a link of embedded videos. That way, they don't need to be in a room,
what I thought,
and they could.
yeah, what I thought is you'd have your hands full dealing with what you've already got for this show. But by all means, let's talk, 4 months, 6 months, a year down the road, because this is going to grow.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I'd be open to doing something with a YouTube playlist. I mean, it's not as cool looking as Kunstmatrix, but it's a very efficient way of looking at some high quality video that tons of people can see, and there's no problem with quality. So,
Yep.
also it's very easy to embed YouTube or Vimeo Vimeo videos in a nice looking web page.
Yep, totally. And there's a lot of nice WordPress plugins too that allow you to embed playlists and have navigation. So, with regards to the upcoming show, there were a number of artists that I recommended that, they asked about submitting video, and I said, hey, just send me some links, send me a bio and a statement, and anyone who's on this chat that didn't do that, I would encourage you just to go ahead and do that, and we'll figure it out, honestly, because I don't want people to be working outside their medium of choice because of the technical constraints of Kunstmatrix. That's kind of like an arbitrary platform that I just happen to see and say, hey, that's really easy to use and to put a virtual show together. But ultimately, like, I would rather the show be inclusive of video work and even immersive or interactive work if we could figure out a way to present it effectively. I mean, as a new Oculus user, I would love at some point for there to be a show that's in actual VR. I mean, who knows if there would ever really be any kind of an audience outside of absolute nerds like all of us, but who cares, and I think that, the idea of including video is something that was brought up, and I did, you know, solicit a number of artists to submit work directly as, you know, YouTube and Vimeo links. And, you know, collectively, I'm sure we can figure out a way to present them in a way that makes sense and doesn't compromise the quality, you know? Absolutely. Because I think there's a lot of strong video work, you know, amongst the different artists in the group.
I have a quick question, Colin, on that. I sent in the Vimeo links, but some of my work is already up, you know, like on a museum site, and I can speak to them because I know them. And you could link to their site, then my video is already playing with all the specs as, you know, the musician, everybody's credited. So it's more on their end, whether they want you to link into them that way. I'll find out. I mean, for everybody, if they have other public facilities, that we can give the link to you. So you'd have.
Well, I think for the purpose of a group show, the work would all need to be presented in some sort of a unified format. You know, like, you know, certainly we could link to artists' sites individually from the information panel that would accompany any works that are accepted into the show. But I think that it should be consistent as far as, say, you know, say there's a dozen video pieces that are selected for presentation. They should all be presented contextually within the same framework, you know, for the sake of consistency. And also, I think just, you know, to keep people within the exhibition versus directing them out of the exhibition.
Yeah, because they're the only links I have to the full videos. That's why I wanted to ask you first. So thank you.
Right. Well, I mean, if you own the videos and it's your intellectual property, you know, unless you have an agreement with the museums, you could certainly embed them elsewhere as well, you know.
Okay. I'll find out whether they want it up twice, you know, that kind of thing. So, okay, thanks.
Right. Absolutely.
Colin, I just wanted to mention, since you were talking about having an Oculus headset, there's a VR art group that I just started participating with called VR Art Live, and you might want to just like check what they're doing. It's really specifically about virtual reality artists getting together and participating and creating stuff and showing their stuff and doing art shows for that.
Cool.
medium.
Would you have a link that you could paste into the chat window for that?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
I'll
Yeah,
do
I
that.
did see there was a like a Facebook group for Google Tilt Brush, and that actually like made me go and get Google Tilt Brush and play with it, and it's a lot of fun. But I mean, I've just scratched the surface of the possibilities, and you know, I
There are
found it to
some
be much more
incredible
sculptural
artists.
experience than like it related to the idea of sculpture to me more so than painting. In a way, but yeah, absolutely. If you could paste that link in, that would be great. And you know, we are also on the Discord server that Davonte set up. It's kind of like split up into different channels, I guess.
Yeah.
Where there's like a resources channel and different other stuff like that.
Colin, I'm gonna paste in here a link to the Center for Collaborative Arts and Media at Yale. I spoke there last summer about my Diamondscape pieces and their paintings, digital paintings that people get in front of physically. They're all made digitally, and you actually interact with them with your iPhone and go inside. It's like a web. You go into a web, totally HTML coded website that you go inside the painting. It's not like you're linking to Roz Diamond or in my resume, but it's not really a video. It's entering into the multiple layers of the Z space of a painting. And I spoke there, but I was one of the only ones with I'm just a 2D person so much. I love the illusion of flatness. And but there were so many people there working in VR, and it was a VR and game conference. And my pieces, some of them that are in certain museums around here, that's why I didn't enter them, because the museums have them. But to the point you were making earlier, Colin, It's a wonderful center. I'm going to put it in here. It was a fabulous conference, and it linked games with interactive media, with VR, Oculus. Everybody had headsets. I was one of the few exhibits they had invited into this that was just a flat piece, but it's because there is an immersive aspect to the flatness I'm doing. It's like thousands of layers in a flat abstract landscape about something. So I'm going to put it in here, but it's CCAM Yale EDU, and they're always doing things there, and I don't know, it might be interesting for you.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think that definitely, and I would encourage you to jump on Discord when you get a chance to, and post it in there. That way, it's sort of there for perpetuity. You know,
Well, actually, I'll just go ahead and
it.
put that in the resources right after this, or
Okay,
awesome.
Pin it.
Very cool. And Davo, I just want to say again, you know, I really appreciate you stepping up and providing this kind of support for the group, you know, in terms of putting together these different channels of communication and taking the lead on the collab project and stuff like that. I mean, you know, and I would certainly encourage like anyone else in the group that just wants to jump in and start doing stuff to do so, you know, because again, like Mike was saying, you know, like this top down approach doesn't work, you know, or you know, that would be, you know, I think a bottom up approach is really where it's at as far as things that work, you know. I mean, I don't know, like it's really sort of a grassroots effort, I think, that is gonna be something that, you know, that'll give what we're doing the greatest chance of success, you know. So really, muchas gracias, and maybe we'll trade off roles next meet up, and you can be the mod and I can be the timer, and anyone else that wants to moderate, you know, certainly you know, can do so. I think maybe I'll try to write up a little script about, like, you know, the meeting stuff that
Best
can
practices.
be, you know, open it up with, and then would be kind of a guideline. So but yeah,
Also,
you know.
here's a suggestion, Colin, that I meet with my gallery in New York, Carter Burton Gallery, and we meet every week, and I'm meeting these artists that I never would meet at the openings, and we're having similar kind of discussions like we're having here when you get to know each other a little better. And what they do is they invite someone who would like to, the woman who moderates it, the director of the gallery says, if someone would like to present, let me know. So we let Sarah know, and then you get to take a nice half hour where you actually think of something where you share, and it's a little meatier, and if you want to do this, but I think then we get in a little bit more than 3 minutes, but it's a thing that ahead of time, you only have one for each meeting, and it's where you have about 20 or 30 minutes, and that person presents in a Q&A, and you know, maybe you don't do it every time we meet because this group has so much to talk about and new people. But it might be an interesting thing, so people get to really know a history of a person and where they're coming from. Just a suggestion.
Yeah, I do think that's a good idea. You know, it's tough because I'm very torn on how rapidly to continue to add people to the index. That is, you know, I'm constantly seeing new artists that are using the hashtag. Literally, like every day, there's at least a couple new artists using the hashtag. And then it's like, well, you know, this could really go on forever. And then if that's the case, everyone is only going to keep getting like the 3 minutes. You know what I mean? So it's like, do we cap it at a certain amount of artists, or like, what do you guys think about that?
I've got a somewhat solution for that. We can still maintain the kind of, you know, 3-minute presentation stuff, right? But if we're going to be utilizing Discord more, we might as well utilize Discord more. And Discord has an open chat feature, and like you can stream and set it up just like this more frequently. Like we don't have to necessarily do those every 2 weeks. We can do that like maybe once a week or once every couple of days, where people can have a more in-depth conversation with one another, or a longer conversation with one another. Because Discord's always open. Like we don't have to have a necessarily meeting for it.
In Discord because I when you're pressed, I think the whole thing about sharing has really made this.
Yeah, you can virtually every function that's in Zoom is in Discord to use.
Oh, weird. Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
So it's so I'd recommend that. Like we could probably set aside time every week or so if people are interested, and they can just hop into a call or a channel in Discord, because I can set up more rooms for that too. Like I can set up how many people can be in a room to, you know, be able to share like that.
I like the idea, but I have to say, doing a prep when you do present for that, and which I've done a few times, it's a lot of work just to get not a lot, but you know, you put something into it, so you don't want to just go do it if nobody happens to be there. It's almost like it has to be, someone has to say, oh, Roz is presenting, or Colin, or whoever, you know, or Clive, or Emily, or who is presenting at this time, and give people like a week or two to even know that they're doing it, and you just do it once in a while, but then they get a little bit of, you know, at least they're doing it and they know people will be there, or hopefully they will.
And I mean, I can set up announcements for that too in Discord as a platform too. Like I can announce like, okay, so Roz will be presenting at this time. Make sure you tune in on this day at this time. And then there you go. And you can have a conversation.
I'm sort of an old beast in new clothes still, but do you have to go to Discord and to know what's happening, or is it email? I mean, email is still a thing that you can like look at it at the end of the day and then get your calendar all figured out.
Well, the announcements in Discord, they're persistent so long as they're there. Like as long as I don't delete them, they're just going to be there. Now, if you wanted a message that you could go check every now and again, Colin has an email list for everyone that's involved with these calls. So perhaps when somebody wants to do a presentation, we could send out an email blast to the participants of these Zoom calls and let them know, hey, on Discord, we're going to be doing this event instead of on Zoom, or something along those lines. Like this is just me brainstorming.
No, I love it. It could, and then also it could happen on Zoom. To Colin's point, you have people coming in every 2 weeks, of course, but when they come, you might go, oh, this is our middle Tuesday of the month when we feature one person for, let's say, 15 minutes, maybe. It doesn't have to be 20 minutes. You know, you could kind of say, but the next week we'll be getting to more of the people. I don't know.
You know what else, Roz, I think might be a way to do this would be, now that, you know, we're recording the Zoom meetings and we're going to establish a YouTube channel, like, you know, the idea of interviews evolved out of Davo's collab project. And I think that, like, you know, Warhol came up with the Interview magazine. I think it was based on the idea of artists interviewing each other. So instead of some like journalist interviewing an artist, it's just artists interviewing each other. And the project that I was working on with Necvital back in the 90s was, it was called Everbeta, which now I use as just my freelance business name. But back then it was like, the idea was like an arts network, and it was, you know, even musicians interviewing artists, or videographers interviewing people in theater, or, you know, across disciplines. But I think, you know, if we have something where it's asynchronous, like YouTube, we could start doing interview sessions where, you know, people are paired off or whatever, and then we're archiving it. So that would be like a really interesting way of having it be, you know, content generation, but also content generation that then can be consumed, you know, by people who aren't necessarily participating in a synchronous situation like this one, you know?
Yeah, we talked about that, the insularity of the tech group, the International Symposium for Electronic Arts. I don't know how many of you guys know about that.
Roz, would you be interested in spearheading an interview series of trying to like group up other artists, you know, group up artists, pair up artists? You know, I mean, it could be done, you know, to start with the collab, but I think ultimately, like, that would be one of the best, to me, uses of a YouTube channel would be to give each artist the opportunity to, you know, to a more extensive degree, talk about their work. And I think instead of it just being like a presentation, it'd be much more interesting if it was actually like a conversation. And maybe it is just through Zoom where it's two artists where maybe they're given equal time, or maybe one is sort of like the feature artist interviewed by the other artist, and then they take turns, you know, switching roles or whatever.
I record these sessions, and I'm going to think about that. I knew I'm such a big mouth, I knew I'd get in trouble here.
No, I think that's, you know, I think that would be cool. And like, that would be a thing like, you know, if you're interested in that concept, you know, you'll probably do the best job in executing it and pulling it off because, you know, it's something that you're interested in. And like, that's what I think, you know, ultimately, like anyone doing anything in association with this, it should be something they want to do anyway. You know, like you know, the last thing I want to be is like a high priest or whatever Mike said, you know, like that is just not, you know, like I think that everything really should just be volunteer and whatever else. Like, you know, at some point I came up with like email addresses for a couple people at techspressionism.com. Then I realized, like, you know what, like maybe people don't want that, you know, like, and so like, you know, to me, like it's, I don't know, like I want this to be sort of the you know, the anti-collective or the, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It should be unbranded.
Structure, you do some, but it's great. I'll do it. I have to go to another Zoom meeting. It's poetry, actually. Poetry.
Hey, that's my other love.
Oh my God,
Nice.
I'm loving it. It's wonderful. But I have to go. But Colin, I'm gonna work on that concept a little bit, and I guess I could either email people or find you on Instagram or think about it. I think the idea of maybe mixing up people who are doing different things might, and helping develop a certain maybe form of questions, so people.
Yeah.
I'll
Absolutely.
work on that. It might not happen over.
Yeah.
I'm taking it
Yeah,
on.
if you want to come up with a name for it or whatever else, you know, by all means, like it's part of the experiment. So
Great,
cool.
great. Okay, see you guys later. Bye.
See ya.
See you, Roz.
See ya.
Pray for America.
Ha.
Haven't gotten into that. Oh my God. Bye, everyone.
See ya. Oh, before we start wrapping up things, I know I wanted to share a little bit of just some knowledge for you in case you were curious. I think most of you use Instagram, if I'm correct, or most people here have an Instagram. So growing your Instagram following or growing your Instagram brand is probably a subject of concern for a lot of artists out there because there's just not a whole lot of guidelines for how to go best about doing that. There's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of information out there. Actually, no, not enough information out there regarding Instagram's algorithm and what they use to, you know, how your work gets prioritized or how your posts get prioritized in that whole feed. But I was able to get a little bit of information regarding that from somebody that is actually in close contact with somebody that works at Instagram, and it was able to share information regarding like best practices that has been updated for as of like 2 weeks ago. So how Instagram's feed or its algorithm works right now is that it is prioritizing new features that the platform rolls out. That means right now they are prioritizing Reels, which is something that they recently added onto the platform. They're 15 to, I believe, 30-second videos. They want you to interact with these videos and make your own as well. Otherwise, your posts are going to be penalized. Penalized in the algorithm by ranking lower than these posts. And according to Instagram, they want you to be making these like 5 or 6 times a week in order to be properly ranked. Yeah, I know it's ridiculous. But for regular people, for people that, you know, have lives, right? They also made suggestions like, oh, if you can't do that, 2 or 3 reels, if you can help it, a week would be fine. But also using Instagram Live, also using Instagram TV, and, you know, they also recommend, you know, if you know your audience's most active times, posting during those times. But at least 1 Instagram Live per week, at least 1 Instagram TV post, and at least 2 reels will help your visibility a lot more. Oh, you have a meeting at 4? Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. I have to go. Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for coming.
Have a good one.
Nice to meet you. Bye.
Nice to meet you.
Bye.
But it's It's manageable. It's not impossible. It is definitely manageable, but I thought that people would be interested in knowing that. And it's also the case that your interactions on the platform actually affect how well your posts are viewed as well. So the more you like and comment on other people's stuff, the more the higher up your posts when they're posted will be ranked too. So it's like they really want you badly to just use everything that's on the platform. And if you don't, they're like, no, you're not important. So it is a whole beast. Facebook actually worked kind of similarly too. But
are Reels generally live recordings, or can you have like a video on your device and post it as a reel?
Are you familiar with like TikTok, like that platform?
I actually have not used it.
Well, it's
a very limited, like very, very limited usage.
Reels is like the most recent iteration of what started with like the Vine craze from like, I don't know how many years ago that was, but it's really short video.
Shut it down, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And they're bringing it back as Reels.
I use Reels a little bit for 3D videos. So you can either put a 50 seconds video, or now you can go up to 30.
Yeah.
Hashtags, I don't think they really work with Reels. Like
they don't.
You get the views from the music you choose usually. But so it's kind of cool because you can put a video that will get like, I don't know, maybe sometimes I had 1,000 views, but I don't think that Reels without a person in it do really work. I think Reels are more a format for making fun videos.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's really a good format for arty things because I don't know. I've been a bit disappointed by the usage of Reels because, like you said, Davonte, I wanted to use the new features of the platform to have like a visibility bonus, but it didn't
it can be rough.
very well for me. But I think if you're an artist and you want to use Reels, it's maybe better to do Reels where you talk about your work instead of making video work. It's more like a behind the scenes thing, I suppose.
Yeah, because I've seen a lot of painters use it. Like they will actually record very small bits of their whole process as they're making the painting and then post it to Reel. So you can use pre-uploaded. Yeah, you can use pre-uploaded. I mean, pre-recorded content to upload it as a Reel, as long as it's within 15 or 30 seconds. And you can surprisingly get a whole lot in that time period, like that time period. It's visually anyway. But
it might also be a format to use where, like, you know, as an artist, you can talk about your work or do a demo or something like that, where it's like live action versus like, you know, actual video art per se, or like renderings or animations, that kind of stuff.
And one thing that is interesting to know for people that don't want that want to keep like a clean feed with only art, you can have Reels in your Reel tab that don't appear in your feed, but they're still in your account. You can disable the thumbnail in your feed if you want to.
Yep.
So we're coming up on 2 hours, guys. I don't know how much longer you all want to stick around, but I think we should probably limit it to some degree as far as the length of the recording. Just I'm nervous about it saying, you know, like, your cloud recording didn't save because it's too long. So maybe I'll at least just stop the recording now, unless anyone else has any other stuff they want to add or any other announcements to record for posterity. Does it seem like it makes sense to everyone who's still in the meet?
Works for me.
Jump off because, like Roz, I've got a writers group meeting in 5 minutes.
Nice.
So I got to go to the other side of my artwork. Nice to be with all of you. Love the conversation, and I'll see you again soon.
All righty.
Thanks, Karen.
The presentation was awesome,
Bye, everybody.
Karen.
It was nice.
I'm out of here. I'm gonna go meet with old Albert Goldbarth, the poet. For all you poets out there who may know him, I don't know. Anyway, so long. Thanks for your time.
All
Thank
right.
you. Thanks
Catch
for
you later.
presenting your work. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I've got to go too. Great seeing you all and meeting some of you. And
Nice seeing you too.
Oh,
Awesome. Thanks.
good
Mike.
luck with your
so
art.
much.
Lovely meeting and nice meeting all of you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I'm going to take off. I'll see you on Discord.
Yep.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks, Lucy.
Okay.
I kind of live in Discord, unfortunately.
Well,
Because I'm always
outta
on my
here too.
computer is why. I'm sorry?
I'm out of here too, guys. I got to get back to the dreaded day job, but it's really cool to see every meeting we have that there's more and more artists. So it's pretty exciting. Can't wait to see the totality of the collaboration. So
It'll be interesting.
Awesome.
waiting for the
Thanks,
next
Diane.
one. Thanks, guys. Have a great
Absolutely.
day.
Thanks
You
for
too.
coming.
Talk to you next time.
All right, see ya.
See ya.
All right. I am going to stop the recording now.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
think
so Techspressionist Salon number 8 signing off.